You are listening to Kickspot.
And we're back.
Yes, sir.
So before the break, we were talking about Jinu's song that he's about to play for us called Red. And it was from, I believe, his experience from the time he was living in St. Louis, Missouri, and all the things that happened to him over there. So without further ado, is this not a world premiere?
No. So I released a song, maybe a year ago, and it's called Red. I worked with producer Smash Hitta, and then a friend that I also write with, Bright, and this is really during that time when I was just writing in my journal that I had about Michael Brown's situation. But not only that, like I had international people really within the business, and it talked about someone being like Muslim. It talks about LGBTQT. It's just a whole nature of everything. Like if you listen to the lyrics really, really well, like it's just everybody bleeds red. And that's really the concept of the song. So,
and the only reason why I was asking if it was world premiere because I wanted to do the world premiere.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't really listened to it. Then it's not necessarily like a popular song talking about these things. A lot of times these songs don't really become popular. So,
I feel you.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Without further ado, world premiere.
Windows to his soul exposed, cause his mind was always closed. With his happiness it stole, mirror never showed his own. When you think about your life, and you know what's deep inside, see and view things open mind. Stop asking yourself why. Why is he dressed like this? Why is she doing that? Why do they raise a fist? Cause if they'd only ask, they know that freedom means it's free, do anything they can. When we see red, we see red, cause we bleed red. When we see red. When you think about their life, and you know what's deep inside, see and view things open wide. Stop asking yourself why. Why are they getting pissed? Cause when they're holding hands, why do they raise a fist? When love is all we have, we know that being happy isn't something to be asked. When we see red, we see time is on our side. Hate stays or it can pass. Which would you decide? Seek first to understand, then to assume. I see the red in you. I see the red in you. Why is he dressed like this? Why is she doing this? How do they raise a fist? Cause if they only ask, they know that freedom means it's free, do anything they can. When we see why are they getting pissed? Cause when they holding hands, why do they raise a fist? When love is all we have, we
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's a pretty powerful song, JP.
Yeah.
That's yeah, I mean, if you really look for the most simplistic way to put it, we all bleed red. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. We all have the same blood. It's the same color.
Yeah.
So that's pretty powerful, man. And I know that was inspired by some incidents back in your St. Louis days.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that song still has some sort of, I would say, connection till today?
As in a positive way, or do I still think that people aren't equal? Like,
Do you think if they listen to that song, what impact do you want people to have when they listen to that song?
You know, I want people to like in the bridge, seek first to understand, then to assume. I think that with my experience, when one of the leaders came up to me and said that she was glad that she ended up meeting me and working with me, because what she grew up with was people telling her that, you know, negative things about Asians. And so I just want people to just understand people in general, that everybody does bleed red. Everybody is just normal, and they are the way that they are, and you just appreciate, you know, who they are as a human being, instead of just your judgmental thoughts of what you think someone is going to be. You know?
Yeah, and speaking of being judgmental because of the way they look or the color of their skin, this year has been really tough. 2020, I think, has been the toughest year for a lot of us, and most of us, probably for everyone. And one of the things for us Asian Americans that we dealt with earlier this year before the George Floyd incident was COVID-19, and how that negatively impacted people's perception and views about Asians, because we were dubbed as the people, quote unquote, that brought that virus into the United States.
Yeah.
And yes, from research and from facts, that the virus did come from Wuhan, which is in China.
Well, no, there's some stories saying that it could be linked up here as well, too.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I think the president did a good job by calling it a Chinese virus.
It definitely did not help the cause of how people viewed us.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention that because you were talking about the beating that you took back in St. Louis, and with COVID-19 being the quote-unquote Chinese virus, it sparked a nation to pick on and, I would say, brutally beat up certain race, because they thought that they were the ones that brought that virus in here, that particular person that was walking in the street was the reason why there's COVID in a state.
Yeah, even when you think about it, like leading up to COVID for many years, I mean, we played 2 songs, one when I was in high school, and then, you know, fast forward a couple years ago, to me, with Asian racism, nothing's really changed. I think people have always had a judgment on Asian people, but now that the president has been very vocal, and there's a lot of social media outlets, like, you get to really see somebody's true colors by the things that they do or things that they say. So now it's enlightened a lot more. It's enhanced a lot more, right? Asian people have never really gotten a break in a lot of things. And I don't want to take that. I want to be able to educate people that they should put people like Asian people in entertainment. It's always been so frustrating for me to see. But we're the typical, you know, doctors. I mean, even in entertainment, we're portrayed as that. You know, we're not portrayed as the hero,
lead role.
The lead role. It's
right.
Like, or the you know, Ken Jeong's of the world. Like, you know, they view him.
You're just
as
that funny Asian guy.
Funny Asian dude. Yeah.
Joe Coy.
Yeah, and Joe Coy. Like, you know, I love all those, you know, actors, comedians, but that's the way that they venture into the media, and it sucks.
So
because even if you think, like, they statistically said that Asian men weren't the most attractive people out of every other race as well too. So really, there's a lot of things that people look down upon when it comes to being Asian. And I've already dealt with that growing up.
Right.
And it's even more. COVID hits, and now that's more than Asian Hornet. Like, that just came out of nowhere, and people were talking about it. Like, Asian people have not taken a break. You know, they were the foundation of building this country. There was a lot of Chinese immigrants that moved here to build the railroad, and people don't really appreciate that either. That history has been lost for such a long time.
Right.
And it's super frustrating to deal with that. And yeah, like I'm saying, like recent events just make it even worse.
Yeah, and I think I want to bring up again the purpose of why we're talking about this is just to just shed some light and shed some perspective. We're not saying that we're better or we're underappreciated or anything like that. We're not saying that at all. What we're saying is we as Asians, we also have our struggles, just like how our African American brothers have had their struggles as well.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I want to belong. I want to be identified as something, right? And throughout this entire time, if you've been listening to from the beginning, my frustration is that when I go to Asia, I'm an American. People view me as an American, regardless. When I live here, people view me as Asian. I'm a hybrid of both. And that's what's the most frustrating thing, is that even when stuff like this happens, people don't understand that I'm just like you. You know what I mean? Like that's a hard part. And I think that identity has been created now. There's a big Asian American community that is starting to shine a light. There's people that say that they don't identify with any of the other, we're not 100% Asian, we're not 100% American. We're just a hybrid. And that's just like how America was built. Everybody came from a different country and eventually learned how to adapt here. And they call themselves like the white Americans were European, and they learned to say that they are American now. And so we want to be able to say that we're here and, we're not any better, but we just want to get along with everybody as well too. Just treat us like equals. Don't treat us like we're something else.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I don't know if you've seen the latest 30 for 30 for ESPN. It was about Bruce Lee.
Oh, that's why everybody was posting Bruce Lee
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a good one. Not as good as The Last Dance, but I think it's better than the ones from Lance Armstrong. But, well, maybe because I can relate. So Bruce Lee, didn't know this, but he was trying to be, he was promoting the Asian culture to be a lead role. And just like your struggle, it's funny when you were talking about it earlier, because I saw the similarities. He wasn't being accepted in the United States. So you know what he does? He goes to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Goes to Hong Kong, and just like what you did, you pretty much paved your own way.
Yeah.
So he paved his own way because no one took him seriously in the States to be a lead role.
Yeah.
So he created 2 blockbuster movies in Hong Kong that panned out, that got him more roles in the States. But even the roles, he was still being put in a box because he was Asian.
Yeah.
They limited his talking on some shows. His script, he didn't talk as much based on the script that was for him. So it's very interesting to watch how the amount of, he should get more credit for really paving the way for us. And I know he gets a lot of credit, but as an Asian pioneer to really have that passion for the next generation to follow his suit, it was just the correlation and the parallel that I saw from your story from that. And you should watch it. We can watch it. I have it recorded.
Well, here's my message. Like, for anybody that's in the entertainment industry, and this is just coming from me, not coming from Migs, but mark my words, like, if you do not incorporate Asian Americans or just Asian people in general in media, in entertainment, as the stars of your roles, eventually we're gonna explode. Just like everything that's happening right now with Black Lives Matter, like that exploded. and they're creating their own opportunity. It's young people doing the things that they believe, protesting for what they believe in. And Asian Americans are going to be in that same boat where they're going to get frustrated. They're going to create their own opportunity. And eventually you should have joined them instead of not. You know, you could, if you're thinking about making a lot of money, trust me, I'm telling you this right now, you will make a lot of money knowing that the Asian American race is the fastest growing race in America. So just keep that in mind. Right? I've just been so fed up with all the experiences that I've had and people just giving me the runaround because I'm Asian and not accepting it. But, you know, we're here and we're going to take over. So just join us or take a back seat.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, and I'm 100% with you. And I think we have a lot of opportunity. America itself has a lot of opportunity. It's definitely gonna take a lot of us banding together to promote what we want to promote.
Yeah.
To promote the kind of not only the culture that we have, but the value that we bring to the table.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value that we bring to the table. There's a lot of intelligence that we bring to the table. There's a lot of history that we bring to the table.
Yeah.
And I think we're primed to really traject in a very positive way. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, this is one of those things you were talking about, creating your own path, right? And we're doing that right now.
Yeah.
And we're building it organically. That's one of the coolest things about our generation is we can build something organically from nothing because we have more resources now because from the people that came before us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, and that's one of the greatest thing about this country that I think people have lost and people don't seem to appreciate is all the sacrifice and hard work that people have put in to get certain people to where they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't get appreciated that much. It gets thrown under the rug and then people feel oppressed. People start feeling that they don't matter, that their voices aren't heard. And you see things that recent events happen.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's where my stand is, but we are lucky. We're very fortunate. I feel like we're at a place where not only for growth, but I think making a difference and being in a position where we can inspire people to just move and feel and create.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to bring up, on the side, I also like consulting businesses. It's always been a passion of mine. I've always liked the coaching aspect of it. And so sometimes I reach out to certain businesses, I get a lot of referral business and all that as well too. And so I recently posted something on Instagram based off of an email that was sent to me, which shows like someone's true color, what they mean. And I wish that he had said it to my face, to be quite honest. Like, I just don't take stuff lightly anymore. And I'm not that, passive introverted person that I was before. And I just don't take that kind of behavior from anybody. So I fight back now. So I want to play this for you if you haven't seen it on my Instagram, so we could kind of talk about this as well too. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I just wanted to really just talk to you and I guess really get stuff off my mind, especially during Asian Heritage Month. I understand that with everything going on, like COVID and the new Hornet thing, that violence towards Asians have gone up. What people don't know is that I used to run a business out in St. Louis, Missouri. And to be quite honest, it was probably one of the most segregated places that I've ever lived in. And I was getting messages personally from people saying that they would never work for me, or even death threats because I was Asian. And I'll give you an example of this now, right? So this email, you cohort with the evil state and you justify your pathetic existence with your soft little fingers. No, you do not exist for me. You are a piece of shit on your people, and your pathetic parents are the same piece of shit that deserve to squat in hell. You are what makes America bad. Regards, Tom. And here's the kicker. Tom is actually a business owner here in Los Angeles, and LA is the most diverse city in the entire world. And I decided to go on his website, and he seems like he runs a pretty successful business. But the crazy thing is he has a bunch of immigrants that actually work for him. He has pictures with them. So really two things came to mind. One is that it doesn't matter where you live, racism exists everywhere. And the second thing that came to mind was you just never know who is actually racist. He decided to hide behind closed doors and email me this. And so you just never know who you're working for and what they actually represent. On a side note, I am going to be starting a radio show with a close friend of mine, and we are calling it Kickspot. All right, I'm gonna end it there. So yeah, and when I said immigrants, I meant minorities or however people are gonna take that. But it is pretty sad. Like we heard about the incident happening in Torrance, and
The Karen of Torrance.
the Karen of Torrance. But the thing is that, to be quite honest, I would rather have somebody brutally be honest with me up front than to work for somebody that thinks like that. I mean, if you're working hard within the company and you're thinking about how you want to support your family and then move up the company ladder, just imagine what they're actually thinking, and it ruins your opportunity because of that. So I would rather have that dialogue up front and, you know, just avoid it. And I feel bad for the people that are actually working there.
Yeah, and again, those are two incidents, right? The lady in Torrance and then that email. It just seems like they were either never educated, or I feel like they were almost just born ignorant.
Yeah.
And so it's not only, I don't know even how to put it. I feel bad for them just because they probably have some deeply rooted things that they have to overcome, and then they're just lashing out by the way by the way that email lashed out on you, by the way Karen from Torrance lashed out on that Filipino American girl that was just working out, and the older Asian gentleman that just parked next to her.
Yeah.
I mean, all the things that she was saying was so ludicrous and out of this world and so racist, the way she was imitating an Asian person to mock him.
Yeah.
And for her to go and say, nobody wants you here, go back to your country. Like, I've heard those things myself.
Yeah.
Like, those things have been said to me.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's one of those things where let's pray for those people. Like, it's almost like I don't want to empathize because I don't want to spend my energy on people like that. It's not worth it to spend your energy on people like that because you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's what do? Do you just leave it alone? Are you fired up enough where you will say something and you'll try to quote unquote educate that person that their mindset needs to be shifted?
Yeah, you know, those that's such a tough question,
Right?
Because, you know, I don't think that people that already have a preconceived notion that think like that are ever going to change. I brought up in one of the other episodes, Today in America, and I talked about how the $150 million isn't really going to do anything, because when you invested in schools and all that, that's all great. But actual experience is something that's always going to get people to actually have a different perspective. And so here's my thing, okay? I would say the way to change behavior is to get all the Karens, right? Get all the Karens.
Karen it up.
And get the best plastic surgeons
Karen it up.
in Beverly Hills. Then
You talk about Dr. DeBro and Dr.
any one of them.
From Botched. Man, those two were good.
Okay, yeah, any one of them. Then you put a different color race on their face. Have them live it out for an entire year. See what they experience. Then switch it out to a different race. See what they experience. Eventually, they'll understand partly what that community is going through. That would be my suggestion. If that ever happens, I'll be very, very happy with all the Karens out there. But unfortunately, that'd be a good reality TV show.
I think it would.
I think that's a good pitch.
Just
If
go.
you are a producer out there, make this happen. because there are like case studies on it, but to live it out in the community and growing up like that would be ideal.
Just go watch Botched on E. Great show. But no, great, JP, great topic. Obviously, thank you for sharing your experiences. I know it's not easy to do that. Yeah. It's not easy to relive those moments.
You know, this is actually one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to create this show. Mm-hmm. It's something that I've been very, very silent about. And I've been holding it in and just releasing it with just music. And I think people don't really understand why I'm writing these things. And eventually, because of everything that's happening currently and how it's growing as far as for racism towards Asians, I'm somewhat glad. I'm somewhat glad because now people are starting to understand, oh, that's why he behaves the way that he does. And because sometimes when I've told people about what I was going through, they just didn't know how to react. Mm-hmm. You know, so now it's happening, and I really just wanted to create the show just to kind of educate people on that and my perspective on it. So I'm very glad that people are gonna listen to that.
Yeah. So, for me, my last thing is, we should make that like a last segment. So my last thing is, so Jinu, what's your last thing? We should do that. But I think it goes back to our Today in America episode. I just have 2 words: educate and empathize. Educate yourself. Continue to educate yourself. Try not to be as judgmental as possible. Just make sure, try to put yourself in their shoes or looking into their eyes. Have some empathy. And I think with those 2, you'll be able to move forward a little bit faster than what we used to do before. So those are my last thing, is educate and empathize. What about you? What are your last things, Jinu Park?
Seek first to understand, then to assume. I always say,
that's a good one.
I always put this as my quote unquote New Year's resolution. Mm-hmm. It has not changed. Because growing up, I've always been judgmental, and I've worked on that a lot as I got older and more mature, and realized that everybody has their own story and everybody has their own perspective, and it would be hard for me to judge somebody and how they react to certain things without actually understanding them. So seek first to understand, then to assume.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Great show. We'll be back with some pretty dope episodes coming up next. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening to Kickspot. Again, our Instagram is @the_Kickspot. You could also follow us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just right now, you have to search "Listen to the Kickspot" all in one in order for you guys to see our videos. We're also on Spotify. You just search the Kickspot, and you should be able to see our nice little logo there. Shout out to Justin Carrillo. And then also we are on the HD radio in Santa Ana, 106.3. Is that correct?
106.3 HD2
Santa Ana. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. We love y'all. Everybody love everybody. And we are outie.
Thank you for listening to Kickspot.